Good evening. Today is November 9th, 2020, and this is the 26th episode of New Paradigms. I'm your host, Sargis Sangari, the Republican nominee for the U.S. Congress in the 9th Congressional District of Illinois. Today, I want to take this opportunity to thank all our volunteers, voters, and supporters for supporting us throughout this entire campaign. But before I do so, I do want to address a particular issue that we have been suffering in Illinois for years and decades. Unfortunately, again, this weekend, we had a large number of shootings that took place in Chicago, 43 shot with 6 fatally. It is sad that for an individual who served in the military for so many years, that I continuously have to address these issues. We have done it while I was on the campaign trail, and unfortunately, it seems that these events have become commonplace in Chicago. It is unacceptable for us to turn a blind eye to the shootings that are taking place. It is unacceptable for us to be comfortable with the fact that so many Americans on a daily basis are being shot, if not in this case on a weekly basis in the city of Chicago. We have to do something about it. It doesn't matter if you're a member of Congress, someone in leadership position and political office, or you're an average citizen out there who's not holding any position. It is our responsibility to help our fellow man, and we have to do something about it. This issue is not just a weapon issue. This issue is a cultural climate that believes that you can take someone's life and have no consequences, and you could take someone's life without caring about what happens to that individual. And for what most of the shootings have taken place randomly with individuals who could care less about who the bullet is impacting and the lives that they're shattering. Our prayers were with the friends and families of the loved ones who have suffered and have been killed in this crisis. And I have always said, regardless if I am in a position in U.S. Congress or not, I am there to help. I will always stand with the member of law enforcement community and in support of those smaller communities. Moving forward, we have to do something about this. We will continue to do something about this because it is all of our responsibilities. With that said, I do want to say on this day, I wanted to give an update to everyone who has helped the Vote Sangari campaign as to where we are today. As you know, of course, the election ended on 3 November. We are currently in a count on those numbers still. On the day after the election, I did reach out to the Congresswoman that I was running against. We spoke. Today, we have 76% of the vote that has been counted. There's more votes still coming in because there have been so many large number of absentee and mail-in ballots that were sent out. And as of today, the numbers for us are reflecting 90,332 count, which in itself is absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that those numbers probably will rise. Once we have the official numbers and certifications, then I will go ahead and post a press release from the Vote Sangari campaign on those specific numbers. But today is a day that, first, for everything that they did during this entire campaign, especially my wife Helen. Today we are celebrating actually our wedding anniversary. And even on our wedding anniversary, I am here speaking to the residents of the 9th Congressional District. All those individuals who voted for me during this campaign, God bless you. You're my prayers, and I stand with you throughout the entire process. And I had said this before, win or lose, I am standing with you, and I will be with you, and we will support each other through all the tough times as we move forward. And for all the voters that voted for us, as I have said, God bless you and keep you, and their families have supported them in this process. My wife Helen, my kids, thank you for sacrificing your time to help me. My campaign manager, the chairman of the Syrian GOP, Joe Tamaras, thank you for everything you have done to get me to this position. It was his recommendation that got me to run for office, and it was his support that got us to where we are at 90,000 votes and still counting for our campaign. The men and women in blue, as I stood with you and I've stood by you in the Back to Blue rallies, to the members of the Fraternal Order of Police in Chicago, Lodge Number 7, who not only endorsed me but actually knocked on doors. God bless you and keep you. I know everyone is working. Everybody's been called in to work through this process of the election. I know that time is away from family. I have been there in the 20 years of service where I missed time from my family's gatherings, from being there with my loved ones at the most important times of their life. And I know what you're going through. I got your back. You're not only in my prayers, I'm there with you all the time. To the member of the Legion of St. Michael law enforcement community who brought me into their family, God bless you, and I'm gonna see you, brothers, and spend more time now that the campaign process is done. For the supporters, for the people who put yard signs out in their yards, for the individuals who knocked on doors, for the individuals who walked through the cold to collect signatures for us, for the individuals who went out to the train tracks, for individuals who made phone calls on our behalf. It was you that made us successful as a campaign. And I have to tell you, this team that we built, this organizational structure, is incredible and something that we can build upon moving into the future. To the men and women of U.S. Impact, the Indian community who supported us, and I will not mention individual names from the members of the various communities because I do not want to leave anyone out. But to our friends in the Serbian community and the Korean community and the Polish community and the Filipino community and the Romanian community and the Hispanic community, especially with the churches and the churches from all those communities that stood by us. God bless you. It was your prayers and support that has gotten us to where we are today. And with all that said, a special thanks to a member of my Assyrian community. This is the first election that I've had individuals within my community, some of whom had not voted in 37 years. And for the first time, they went out and voted for someone. Why? Because they finally had a member of their communities out there where they could vote for. I had said this in my discussions and the various different interviews, whether it was Win TV, the Korean community, the Korean Times, Korean Daily, the Serbian Times, and all other news outlets that have covered us. I've said this, it is much better, more pleasing to have somebody from your community, especially from your ethnic community, to be able to be out there to have a voice for your particular community. And in this case, we've had individuals who went out and not some of them not even knowing the system of how U.S. politics works. Some who were just recently here, some with their green cards, waiting to get their citizenship from their family. They did their best to support us in any which way they could. They became part of the fabric of our nation. I ask and I plead actually from the younger generations that we have out there, please, you have to run for politics and political office. You are our future. You're on which we build our dreams upon. We want you to get out there. We want you to test the waters. We want you to run. Again, as I said, 90,332, which is 3.1% of the vote. And we did that with only $43,000 in small donations. Majority of the donations that we had were from retirees. Imagine when we went into the voting location and voting poll booths, you saw the presidents, the presidential election, then the senators, then you saw my name if you were in the 9th Congressional District. So we ran a campaign for the U.S. Congress for the House of Representatives with $43,000 of donation and small money, and we are at almost 100,000 votes. That doesn't happen by chance. That is, sometimes you say a miracle, but that is through the hard work that we put into this campaign that has got us here. This is what you could build upon. This is how you build foundations, from small donors to young men and women helping us at the local levels, from knocking on every door, even when we were restricted with what happened with COVID, where you could have gone out there and knocked on more doors and been able to have a name and face recognition by multiple, maybe more people out there. it gave us an opportunity to create this program, New Paradigms. And on this New Paradigms show, I had the pleasure and opportunity of bringing other candidates that are running for various different positions from the federal level to the local level on the program. So you got the chance to get to know who they are. I brought individuals, incredible individuals like Andor Kim Kowalski, who came in and spoke about the law enforcement community, Sheriff David Clark, the FOP president from Lodge Number 7, Chicago PD, FOP, here to speak on law enforcement issues. And we are going to have many more guests. The New Paradigm Show was created because of COVID, so we could reach people through social media. And now this particular program, this blessed program that we've had, where even my family was featured last time on episode 25, will move forward. A special, very special thanks for Mark Vargas, who has hosted this program in the past, interviewed my family, and has been on this program 3 times, to include the one time that he was a host, for an incredible job done to kind of give us a lay of the land as to what is happening through this election process. I have been asked by multiple people on the issues of what is happening today with having a president-elect and where is the country going in the future. As I have told them, I will tell you all, there's a process now that legally is looking at specifically this particular election. When we were looking at when we were going to get our certification for these numbers that we have in the 9th Congressional District, which ends everything as a final judiciary and to this particular race. As I told them, and I will tell you all, is that because Illinois has been also added to a lawsuit case that is out there, we're not sure when the votes will be certified, but once they are done, eventually they will be done. We'll know who the clear winner is, and this nation will move forward. I would ask everyone who's out there on the opposing political party views, as I have said multiple times throughout my discussions, whether it was with the high school students in the Niles West, which I had the pleasure, or I should say Niles North, which I had the pleasure of speaking to their civic class, or it was the Northwestern University, which interviewed me, or others. We're all Americans. Political parties are political parties, that's all. There are 2 means and ways of getting into Congress or into local elections. They're vehicles for you to choose from, and if your ideology falls on one end of the side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle, then you need to be true to yourself and run as that particular person. I myself am a Republican. And my Syrian community lived in the 9th Congressional District majority. That's where they planted their flag. So I ran in the district where my community lives, and I also ran as a Republican against not just the incumbent who was there for 22 years, or who will be there for 24 years, possibly going forward, but at the same time against the Democratic machine that has every tool available to it, from committeemen who could get the vote out, from individuals who could make phone calls, from individuals who get paid to go collect signatures, from individuals who can knock on doors and get paid for what they do, and from individuals who could go stand at every polling station and get paid. Of course, when you have $43,000, you don't have that money, but you still get into the game and you still get into the fight. Because if you don't, and if I hadn't ran in the 9th Congressional District, then we would have had an incumbent who would have gone forward with no challengers. And that incumbent would not have had an opportunity to realize that there's approximately 100,000 people in the district that do not agree with that incumbent's viewpoints on issues and maybe even leadership. So it is important for us, regardless of where you are, if you're in Illinois, in Chicago, Cook County, if you're a Republican, please run as a Republican, even in these democratically controlled cities. If you're a Democrat and you see the same machine may be operating in areas like Texas and other places, you still need to run, because we need to have the 2 differing viewpoints on how we want to address the policies within our nation. And it is very important that we do that for the betterment of our nation, for the betterment of that flag behind me. We will move forward. There's no stopping. There's no end to this so-called election process. A lot of people do not know, but come 6th of April, there's going to be elections at the local levels. For those people who voted in this congressional race within a short period of time, I hope you again go out and exercise your vote. The best thing about this election, this historical election, is that I can always look back, and the people who helped our campaign can look back and said, we were there in the fight when it took place. We don't want you to sit on the sidelines, regardless of your political party or your viewpoint on issues. Get into the fight. You have one ability, Americans, to change things, and that is your vote. Now, I do know that there's some challenges in certain places. There's arguments and issues, but you still have to do your civic duty and go on and vote. That is, you have done your job at the end of the day. I expect you to try to do that. I will continue to do that until the day I cannot vote anymore. And hopefully we see you on the battlefield starting the new year all the way through until we have individuals who hopefully we have been able to give advice of what we learned about as we ran a U.S. congressional race to be able to get them in these particular positions. Our number is available. If you are planning or would like to run for these local elections, please contact us. Contact Joe, contact me, contact our office. Vote Sangari Facebook page will be up. You can still message us. You could go to the Vote Sangari site, www.votesangari.com, and message us or send us a message that you want to run, and we're in touch with the individuals who could help, and we will support you and help you in any which way possible to get you to be in those local elections. Keep in mind that there's still national elections still continuing. The current court cases may not close out until sometime early next year. Who knows how long it takes. But right after that, there's still going to be some elections that are going to go through a recall, like not a recall, I should say, that they're going to, because of the state requirements, they may have to have the elections to make sure that they get above the 50% threshold, like in Georgia. Those elections will still continue, and if they call us to support there, we will support them as best as we can. So this process doesn't stop from a date. You have to go through that date. The network, the coalition we build doesn't stop suddenly. We continue to build on those coalitions. We continue to expand those coalitions. We continue to strengthen those coalitions' abilities to have a say in the future of Illinois. In May of this year sometime, as you know, we have the 2010 census or 2020 census numbers that will be used to possibly redraw some of the districts. Who knows what the 9th will look like? Who knows what the 10th will look like? The two districts are close to each other. But I'm sure there will be some kind of a redrawing on the maps. We'll probably find out by sometime next May, maybe what that redrawing of that map may look like. Some of you may not live in the 9th. Some of you who are in the 10th may be incorporated in the 9th. If that happens, please reach out to us. Call us immediately so we can work together to continue this coalition that we have built in this short period of time. Again, pretty good for $43,000 in donations, not ties to any special interest, except for endorsements from various different ethnic communities. And where we are today is we are at almost 100,000 votes, maybe by the time the vote is certified. It is vital, as I told my daughter, who said, "Dad, the numbers don't look good for you. Are you sad?" I said, "No," because I said, if this ends up in where you lose an election, you have to go through the process, because it's not a sad issue. It's actually a positive, because you have to learn from lessons. But you're not going to learn from lessons. You're not going to know where to improve, where not to improve, if you don't go through the process. So I'm not a person who will sit on the sidelines. I am in this race, and I will continue to fight for all those people who voted for me. I owe it to them to ensure that I continue to support them in any capacity I can, whether it be from being in the U.S. Congress or being there for them in other capacities of how we may need to help them. When the mayor of Lincolnwood reached out and endorsed our campaign, I owe it to individuals like him because he came also on behalf of others. He took the lead for others to be able to work with him, to be able to get some needed possible other avenues of getting some economic support for our various different communities in the 9th congressional district and for the cities like Lincolnwood, Skokie, Glenview, and others that are within the district. So we will continue to work on that. When the Chamber of Commerce from Lincolnwood reached out, as I told them, I am here either way, win or lose, and we're going to work together to improve our communities and those small businesses, because everybody out there has a talent, and it is important for us to use that talent to improve our communities overall. And I will do that as I spoke to the teachers at the closeout of my discussion at Niles North. I said, look, either I will be here speaking to you next time as a U.S. Congressman elect or U.S. Congressman for the 9th Congressional District, or as Lieutenant Colonel Sangari, who was an immigrant who came here without speaking any English, not knowing the language at all, learning, applying himself, becoming part of the fabric of this nation, and fighting for this nation on the battlefields of Iraq and supporting operational needs in Afghanistan and supporting keeping the root of Christianity alive in both Syria and Iraq. When our nation had to fight against ISIS, and the globe had to fight against that scourge. And as we move forward, where I am today, so we are ready and waiting to support you, and in which way you want us to support you, just like you supported us. So please don't hesitate to reach out. This program, New Paradigm, with Sargis Sangari, will continue to move forward. We are going to have various different speakers and guests that are going to come here. We're going to expand it a little bit more from just the political discussion to other discussions that are very important for the state of Illinois as we move forward. The initial introduction might be different, but the same format will remain. And if you have any ideas, please send them to us, text them to us so we can improve our programming and maybe on multiple different or additional platforms to be able to reach as many audiences as possible. We are still in a process of a closeout of this campaign, just so people know. So if you do want to support us still, you want to donate to build upon what we built today, that is available. We are still looking for donations. You could go to either you could see the QR on the bottom and donate for the race, or you could support us at www.votesangari.com. One piece that I had told my brethren in the law enforcement community that I was definitely going to work on past 3 November is the fact that we're looking at organizing these PAC capabilities for law enforcement at the national level, because I believe that the men and women of law enforcement need to have a voice. And in this case, the best way I could do to allow them to have a voice in politics, to give them the tools that they need to have that voice. So the support donations that you give us will help us to be able to at least expand some of the basic footprint that we need into the type of programs that we had put together going forward to support our men and women of law enforcement and build on the coalition that we have already built. With that said, I would tell you again, all, thank you for being with us. We're still alive. We're still in the fight to help our nation move forward to the best of its ability. I encourage you all to get into these fights. It is important to get there, to be in the fight, to learn the lessons learned from race to race, improve upon them, work together. And I think as we look at closing out this show today, be assured that I will continue to fight for this nation and for our country in every capacity I can, everywhere my nation needs me, regardless of what it costs me personally and what might be the need to the day I die. And then after that, once I've closed my eyes, I'm no longer here, then I expect the next generation to pick up the flag behind me and get into the fight. Because this nation, the ideals on which this nation was built upon, which were laid out in the in our Declaration of Independence, that gave us a philosophy of who we are, is vital for us to defend if we are going to ever respect or defend the Constitution of the United States. And if I would tell the young men and women out there, if you do not know what the Declaration of Independence and its philosophy communicates, and why we broke away from the King of England, and what was laid out for the Americans to pick up arms to support the new government that was established, that fought against a juggernaut at that time, the English military and the English crown, then you will never understand why our Constitution is what it is. The two work hand in hand. We need to support it. And that is one of the reasons why I got into a fight against a machine that's called the Illinois Democratic Machine. And I was able to take 100,000 votes away from that machine. Individuals who said, we do not support the machine politics in Chicago. And we have added, for the first time voters, 20,000 brand new voters who came in and said, we don't agree with how machine politics works in Chicago, and we want to stand with independent voices that with $43,000 in small donations are able to challenge you and strike such a hard blow against you. With that said, I want to say again, for everyone, if I missed you, my apologies, my sincere apologies if I missed thanking anybody out there. God bless you. God keep you. You're in our prayers. I'm there for you. Reach out if you need me. And God bless the United States of America. This is New Paradigms. God bless.